Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Johns Hopkins School of Education Mind, Brain, and Teaching virtual webinar. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Presenting today, we have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, Tyreen Maddox, and also presenting, we have Dr. Marielle Hardiman and Dr. Ranjani John Bull. And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Also, please take a second to see if your mic is on mute right now. Please have your mic on mute at all times during the presentation. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please type your question in the chat box and we will read and answer your questions. Now I will pass it on to Tyreen.
Thank you so much, Sion. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyreen Maddox, and I am one of the admissions coordinators for Johns Hopkins School of Education. I would like to share the agenda for today's presentation. We will kick off the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education and go over faculty introduction. Lastly, Sion will wrap it up with admissions requirements and leave the floor open for questions at the end. All right, to start, just some quick facts about Johns Hopkins University School of Education. We are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. We offer more than 30 graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificates programs. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. For student enrollment, we have approximately 2,437 students with 121 full-time faculty and a strong network of approximately 22,000 alumni at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Our guest faculty speakers today, first is Dr. Ranjani John Bull. She is the Assistant Professor for Mind Brain Teaching and Doctor of Education programs. She joined faculty in 2014 after a postdoctoral fellowship. Her PhD is obtained from the University of Virginia, and her research focus are in areas such as teacher efficacy, cultural competence, social context of belief change, neuroeducation, professional development, and arts integration methods. Next, we have Dr. Marielle Hardiman. She is the professor and co-founder and director of Johns Hopkins Neuroeducation Initiative, known as NEI. She's a faculty lead for the Graduate Certificate in Mind, Brain, and Teaching, and she joined JHU faculty in 2006. Some of Dr. Hardiman's research and publications focus on enhancing educational practices through techniques that foster innovation and creative problem solving. Dr. Hardiman has presented nationally and internationally on topics related to the intersection of research in the learning sciences with effective teaching strategies, including meaningful integration of the arts. And I will pass it on to faculty at this time.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for joining us. I know that some of you may be here because you say, what is a certificate and why should I pursue it? And who pursues this certificate and what are they looking for? So the answers are varied. And so we'll try to give you the scope of the different students over the last, I guess, around 15 years, the certificate has been in place, both first face-to-face and now totally two cohorts, totally online. And so many students who come into this are advanced practitioners. They're not looking for certification. They're looking to advance themselves in their own field. Some have doctorate degrees already, and some are just beginning a master's program. So it's quite a range. And, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Many of our students have gone on to assume leadership positions in their own field. And I have to really emphasize too, that it's not just education. More and more students are joining our certificate who are actually in industry. They are maybe trainers in various either nonprofits or free for-profit entities. And they're coming to learn more about how to teach and learn and to make their own teaching and their training in their context more robust. Policymakers are looking to the research in the field of neuroeducation and looking to see how that could inform policy at the local, state, and national level. Many are educational consultants, and some folks have even their own consulting businesses, and they're looking to expand their knowledge. And then others come in just because they want to be lifelong learners, and they are teachers, they plan to stay where they are, and they want to know more. They want to enhance their practice in their own classrooms. So next slide. So, I think I already talked a little bit about this. Pre-K to 16 educators, we have more and more people who are in higher education already, but also people who are beginning their careers as teachers. Again, organizational leaders, consultants. We've even had parents join us who are homeschooling their children, and people who want to be involved in face-to-face education as well as online. And a lot of the best practices that you learn through the certificate are practices that you can take into your own context online. Okay, next slide. So the certificate description, it is 15 graduate credits. So that means it's 5 courses, 3 credits each. Our focus is to explore research to practice from the learning sciences. What do we know from how children think and learn, and how does that have the potential to inform education or related service? And they integrate diverse disciplines that investigate human learning and development. So what we're looking at is from psychology, from cognitive science, brain science, neurology, neuroscience, education, many of the readings that we give you, and much of the work that we show you in a model that you'll learn about in a minute, the brain targeted teaching model, is derived from research from those diverse fields. And then you're going to be asked yourself, you'll be looking at the book that I published, where I do take research and translate it, but we also ask you to critically consider research and then see how that research informs your own practice, and so that you become the translators yourself. Again, it's fully online, 5 semesters, and you'll see that it's 2 academic years plus 1 summer, and the courses are offered in a cohort structure. And Dr. Jumbo will show you that you can also take the certificate in 1 year. So that's 2 courses in the fall, 2 in the spring, and the final course in the summer. And she'll show you that shortly. So moving to the next slide, I mentioned the brain targeted teaching model. We start with that model. It is a research to practice model written in a way that shows you, as you begin this program, how empirical research can inform educational practice. And it's applicable, this model, and is used in any organizational context. Many of our students and workshops that we give, professional development workshops, are with adult learners and higher education faculty, as well as faculty in preschool programs. So it can be used in any context. And in this model, I think what we hope to find is the translation immediate of learning to professional context. And then in future courses, you'll dive down and you'll be your own translator, as I just mentioned. Okay, next slide. And so the book you will read is the center book. On the very left is my first book that first introduced the brain targeted teaching model. And then the second book delves much deeper into the research. And I base much of what you read on my own experiences as an educator, because there I am as a school principal. So before coming to Hopkins, I was in Baltimore City Schools and spent many years in leadership positions. And in my last position for 12 years, I was principal of an elementary middle school of about 1,500 children. So it was there that this model was conceived. And I think what is unique about it is that as opposed to many initiatives that happen in education, this did not come from a university and given to teachers and said, now you do this because our research says you should. This actually bubbled up from practice. So the model was actually built by those of us studying and in practice, and then it came to the university. So I think that that is a unique feature of this model. So now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. John Bull to talk to you about the structure of the program.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We have a sequence of 5 courses for the Mind, Brain, and Teaching Graduate Certificate, and it begins in this traditional structure. This was our original structure. It goes fall, spring, summer, fall, spring. So it's 2 full academic years with the summer in between. And it begins with the explorations in mind brain teaching, which provides an overview of the learning sciences, where you learn some information about brain structure and function, misconceptions about learning in the brain, and instructional strategies that are informed by this amazing book that Dr. Hardiman mentioned about the brain targeted teaching model. Yes, I do drink the Kool-Aid because I have seen the benefits of what it can bring to teachers through the professional development studies that we have conducted on brain targeted teaching in practice and teacher efficacy beliefs. So you get to learn that in that first course. In the spring, you do dive into a fundamentals of cognitive development, where there's focus on neurotypical development. Then you go on to neurobiology of learning differences, where there's the focus on the spectrum of neurodiversity and the teaching and learning implications of an atypical development and different aspects of neurodiversity. And then in the fall, you go into cognitive processes of literacy and numeracy. And then finally, there's the special topics in brain sciences, where we focus on emotions, memory, and attention. And there is a survey of a number of different fields that are explored in the earlier courses, but we want you to see some of the other areas of the learning sciences that are also applicable to teaching and learning professions and the K-16 context. So that's our curriculum structure for option A. And in our next slide, you'll see option B. So we developed, in response to the desire of our students in our previous cohorts, we now provide a plan B for the certificate, which is an accelerated version. This allows for you, if you want to apply for financial aid and federal student loans, because you would be taking 6 credits in the fall and then 6 credits in the spring. And that allows for you to apply for financial aid, which was not available before. And I believe my colleague Tyreen or Sion will share more about that later. All right, next slide. We also have our online curriculum delivery here. We do the majority of our work within the Blackboard platform. We do integrate a couple of other tech tools like VoiceThread, some Flipgrid, some Padlet. We are always experimenting with some new tech tools to keep things interesting and novel. The certificate is mostly an asynchronous program, so that we can have some equitable access to the content for our students who are across the United States and really around the world. We have people who are taking the certificate from all over the place. You'll see video lectures, interactives, discussions, and we have projects. And we do have some synchronous sessions, which are optional. And we will either provide the recordings for those synchronous sessions, or we'll provide a similar alternative to the sync session online. That would be an asynchronous option. All right, next slide. For the outcomes of our MBT graduate certificate or degree, we really think of it in two buckets. You We expect you to turn into research translators in your professional practice and also be neuroeducators. So we expect you to gain skills so that you can digest and pick apart research literature. And we also ask you to deeply root yourself in a body of literature that's relevant to your practice. So we ask you to do projects and papers on something that's relevant to a concern of yours in your professional practice or an interest of yours. And then you produce these projects that are immediately translatable to your professional context. And in addition to that, we think of you as neuroeducators once you leave us, and that you have gained these essential insights at the nexus point between mind, brain, and teaching research, and that you leave with tools and projects ready for implementation in your context. And what we hear from our students is that you end up serving as the point people for the knowledge from the learning sciences in your spaces, and you become the bridge people, the bridge between research and practice, and you serve a really important role. Our graduates serve a really important role in their context after they leave us. All right, next slide. These are a few of the testimonials that our students have said. I love reading these, this feedback from them. The first one talks about how this person was surprised at how many times their thoughts went to policy and not just applications in the classroom, because there is so much of a broad learning and applicability to practice and policy throughout the courses. I'll just give you just a second to read through those, and then we'll go to the next slide. All right. One of the unique options at the Johns Hopkins School of Education is that our Masters of Education program allows you to choose 2 different certificates to design a more tailored master's degree to your professional goals. That is not an option that's very common at most schools of education. Instead, at other schools of education, you have to take one learning specialization only. For example, you would take a master's degree in gifted education, or you would have your master's degree in administration and supervision. But here you can specialize in 2 different concentration areas. So you could take the Mind, Brain, and Teaching certificate and combine it with any of these other 7 options, certificate options, which I think is a really unique and awesome experience, especially for a 21st century world where you need to know more than just one specialization area in the education professions. So I encourage you, if you're only thinking about the certificate right now, to also look at some of our literature on the Masters of Education and Masters of Science in Educational Studies, and just consider this, because it's a really cool option to learn 2 different areas versus just one. All right, I'll pass it back over to my colleague, Sion or Tyreen.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hardman and Dr. John Bull. So now we're going to continue by going over the application requirements. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on our website. Please keep in mind there is an $80 application fee when you submit your application. And the supporting materials that are required for this program are an updated resume that highlights any academic, professional, research, and leadership experiences. Your personal statement should not exceed more than 750 words. Moving on, you should submit 2 letters of recommendation, a scholarly writing, and this is a paper that was written for a prior coursework. And if you don't have an example of a scholarly writing to submit, as an alternative, you may instead write a brief essay. So please visit our website for information on the alternative writing sample. And lastly, we need all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. Again, this is from all post-secondary institutions that you have attended. There are a few additional steps you need to take in order to complete the application process if you're an international student. You must submit a TOEFL or IELTS score. And if your degree was completed outside of the US, you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. And additional information can be found on our website. And here on this slide, you will see a breakdown of the tuition for the next academic school year. The base tuition for the next academic school year will be $926 per credit. So the estimated tuition is $15,065 for 15 credit hours. Please note additional fees apply and are charged separately from tuition. We encourage you to view our tuitions and fees page on our website for the most up-to-date information about tuition and fees. And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. Please visit our website. If you have any questions relating to financial aid, you'll find contact information for the Office of Financial Aid and details of any loans and scholarships that are available. Thank you for attending the Mind Brain Teaching Program presentation. At this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions.
Okay, so please type your questions into the chat section. The first question we have is from Claudia. When is the date line for applying in the fall? And what happens if I miss the fall application? This means I need to wait for next spring 2022. So I can answer this question. This program operates on a rolling admissions. And what that means is that faculty will continue to review applications up until about a week or two before that cohort start. So for fall 2021, courses start August 30th. So it would be safe to have your application, all admissions materials in by mid-August. If you do not have everything in around that time frame, and you don't get everything in time for faculty to review, and then also giving you time to do orientation and things of that nature, the next available cohort would not be until fall 2022.
Irene, if I could add one thing here. We are seeing an amazing surge in applications this year. So we've admitted far more students at this point than ever before. So I would encourage you, if you really want to do this certificate, get that application in. Don't wait until the last minute, because this has been a very popular certificate and has been always, but this year it's a bumper crop. So there are still spaces, but they're going fast. So get your application in if you want to join us.
And there's another question from Gail. Do you need to, I'm sorry, it's going pretty quickly. Do you need to apply for the Mind Brain Teaching Cert and the full master's program simultaneously, or can you do the certificate first? So if you intend on completing the master's, then you would fill out the application for the master's in interdisciplinary studies. And depending on which pathway you choose, whether you're taking 2 certs or 1 to complete your master's, you apply for the master's first, and then the application will give you the option to select either pathway. And depending on which pathway, so for example, if it was just the Mind Brain Teaching along with the additional core courses, then the application is set up to then create a tab for the actual certificate as well. If you are simply interested in Mind Brain Teaching Cert by itself, you could certainly start with that. Some students have started with Mind Brain Teaching, and then within a year or after taking a few courses have decided they want to combine it for a master's. That is an option as well, but there is a time frame for that. And so you want to, kind of make that decision relatively soon if you've already started the certification. Okay, the next question, is there a limit in the cohort? I am missing 1 paper, wouldn't want to be left out just for paperwork. I already submitted everything else, I'm sorry. So Dr. Hardiman, do you guys have a limit to the amount of students that you accept in the program?
Generally, we do have a target number that we accept. If you can get your paperwork in there, then it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, soon, right? So We have toyed with the idea, if we have even more applicants, of opening up a third cohort. But that is very, very in the draft stages right now. So yeah, we're still, we do have a target number, and we are willing to consider going over that target number, but hurry with your application materials. We want you to get in there.
Yeah, so just to add to what Dr. Jumble said, we would have to make a decision pretty early to add that third cohort. We could not do it at the last minute. So that's why, even if we did open a third cohort, we'd have to know what our applicant pool is before we make that decision. And then I see a question about deferring. We have had people defer start. I will tell you that if you don't want to start until fall of 22, then you don't have to apply now. You can, and we have had people apply. They think they want to start in the fall, and then for various reasons, they defer a year. But if you already know now you don't want to do this certificate until fall 22, I would say wait until, you know, even the fall, we started to look at applications for fall 21 in as early November 20. So people start applying in the fall for the following year. So, you know, you don't have to rush if you know you don't want to start until 22. Hope that answers that question.
Thank you, Dr. Hardiman. So there is a comment in regards to a paper. I can get the papers by end of July. Is that too late? As Tyreen stated, we are accepting applications until the program reaches full capacity. So like we mentioned, we are encouraging everyone to submit your application and your supporting materials as soon as possible.
And then just to add about this paper, if you don't have a paper that you've written in a previous course, what we're looking for is, there is a lot of writing in this class, and we just want to be able to assess your skills in writing. And so in addition to the short essay that you're writing about why you want to join the certificate, you could write something or use something you've done professionally. If you've done some writing in your own profession, it does not have to be lengthy. It can be a short writing sample, but you know, we're looking for continuity of thought and how well you can express yourself in writing. So, you know, don't be stymied if you don't have a paper that you have submitted for a course. Not everyone uploads that kind of paper. So yeah, and as Tyree said, there's more information on the website about that.
Thank you, Dr. Hardiman, for explaining that. Two questions. The first one is, Lindsay, I have already completed a master's in education. Is this course suitable?
Yeah, you know, what's really interesting is that we have people that are taking our graduate certificate who are coming to us with their master's degrees already and their doctoral degrees, because they're very interested in the content and the applicability to adult learning and development for their contexts. So absolutely. Dr. Hardiman, I see you're unmuted, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, yes, just to underscore what Dr. Jumble just said, we have at least a handful who have doctorates already. I would say most applicants that have been accepted have at least one master's, and some have two. So as Dr. Jumble said, there are people who are coming to this program not interested in earning a master's degree because they already have enough degrees. They just want the content. You know, on the other hand, if you're a brand new teacher out there, don't be worried, because we do have several cohorts, and then even within our courses, we group as much as we can for job alike teams. You'll find our experience is that in this program, you'll be able to find students, peers that are at your level, so, in other words, if you're a kindergarten teacher, you would unlikely be on a team where somebody is teaching in a PhD program and already has their PhD. So, we try to make sure that when you're placed in a section and in teams, that you're going to be able to learn from others, but also you won't feel intimidated that, you don't have a doctorate degree if you're just starting a master's. But yes, for that question, most people have advanced degrees coming into this program. How many hours?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can go ahead because I think we missed one. Is it possible to do 2 graduate certificates at the same time?
Some people are doing that, and it just depends on the time that you have. Yeah, so if you can take 6 credits in 2 different programs, that's completely up to you. So I would just say it's up to the amount of time you have and how organized you are, because the programs do require a bit of reading and writing in any program that you'll take at Hopkins. So yeah, but there are others that manage that quite well. Dr. Jumble, I don't know if you want to add to that, but
oh yeah, I just think that it's if you have the time to dedicate to 2 courses per semester, then it's a great option because then you can specialize in 2 different concentration areas. I think that it's just a great option, and then your opportunities for financial aid are a bit greater as well.
And so I was just going to add to that. And so ultimately, if you do 2 certificates, just keep in mind that can make up the full master's degree along with their capstone. So usually when students are taking 2 graduate certificates, it's towards a master's.
Thank you, Tyreen. Yes. Dr. Hardiman, did you want to answer the other one? On average, how many hours would you say typical students dedicate to coursework per week?
I think that varies widely. I think that the best answer is to tell you that most people are working professionals and do have families. So, the asynchronous nature of this program is such that it allows you to work, when it's best for you. So it is designed for the working professional. And yeah, there are many, you'll find most students are working and a mom. How many hours per week? I would say with each module within the courses, the courses will run for about 13 weeks. And in some cases during the semesters, there's a study week there. We try to build that in. We try to make sure that the readings are not overwhelming. On the other hand, if you're an eager beaver, for each session, there are additional optional readings. So for those folks who want to dig deeper, we have optional readings that you can do in addition to the readings. But we've really tried to make sure that what we give you is, you'll have some readings out of text through the certificate, and then additional readings that are typically research papers or other kinds of papers, meta-analysis that then connect into the topic of that session. So how many hours? Is it 10 hours? Is it 5? It just depends on how fast you work and how efficient you are with your time. I don't know, Dr. Jumble, do you have a better answer? I really do think it varies.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think it varies. I think probably within that time frame between 5 to 10 hours a week. If you're a speed reader and you've taken a speed reading course, then it could be faster. And we try to vary the assignments. in our certificate so that you're not doing both, a heavy discussion and a big project deliverable or assignment or writing assignment in the same week, so that it's a manageable workload. And we also we find that most of our students do their work in the evenings and on the weekends. So it's manageable. It's manageable, especially if you go one course at a time. If you're interested in doing 2 courses at a time, I think it'll be, well, you should just plan for spending the majority of your weekends, on the coursework. I think you'll have to dedicate more time. Yeah.
One thing I will tell you that we're really sensitive to, the working professional and mom or dad. What we've done this year, or actually last year, is to change due dates. So in explorations, in your first course, the due date, rather than being for your assignment, rather than being Sunday night, it's the following day. So the next session will start on a Monday, but your assignment is not due till Monday night. So we've given you that one extra day because we realize that Sunday might be a nice family day, and it gives you the work day then to complete your assignment if you're still working on it. So, we've tried to be really flexible with our students so that they can do their work and still live a wonderful life with your family and your work. Dr. Jumble, you may want to answer the next question about the doctoral program.
Sure. Yeah, we do have a doctoral program. It's a Doctor of Education program online, and we do have a Mind Brain and Teaching specialization. We built that specialization based upon this certificate and basically put it on steroids and put it into the doctoral program. So if you already have a master's in education, it would be great for you to look at our website on the EDD, and I'm happy to answer questions about that. It is a problem of practice design, so you come in and apply with a problem of practice, and you have to have an executive sponsor in your professional practice that confirms that they will allow you to do your dissertation research project in your professional practice context. So those are a couple of pieces that are important to know about the EDD and the Mind Brain Teaching specialization in the EDD. But yes, we do, and we have a cohort that we have one intake every year. The applications are due December, January, and then people are admitted and their courses start in the fall, but we have an orientation over the summer as well. So yeah, it's a great year, a great group. We take in Mind Brain Teaching specializations every year, a cohort for the Mind Brain Teaching specialization every year.
Let me also add that there are students who have completed the certificate. And while we don't, as Dr. Jumble said, the course content is essentially the same. The way the program is implemented is not. But there are many who take the MBT certificate and then apply that knowledge of neuroeducation in one of the other specializations. So it's almost like a 1-2 punch. You have the content from Mind Brain and Teaching from the certificate, and then you can apply it in technology or in entrepreneurial leadership. That's a pretty powerful combination. So we have had students who have done that every year. So just want to throw that in there.
Thank you, Dr. Hardiman, for explaining that. So yes, please note that Mind Brain and Teaching graduate certificate graduates, must select a different specialization if you're interested in applying for the EDD program afterwards. And there was a question I saw earlier, I think we missed. My current employer pays about $2,500 a year for continuing education. Can it be spread over a longer period than 2 years? So please keep in mind for School of Education, you have up to 3 years to complete a graduate certificate program. And I don't know, Dr. John Bull or Dr. Hardman, if you want to add on to that.
Typically, our students are finishing it in a year and a half. You know, there are some who might step out of the program and then come back in. If you do that, though, you'd be with a different cohort than what you started with. In terms of paying your bill, your financial obligations to the institution, I'll throw it back to admissions to talk about that. And
Dr. Hardman, we
that's
did
a
receive.
question for our finance office, right?
I'm sorry, I missed that part. What did you have a question for admissions?
Just that, you know, in terms of stretching the program out over a year and a half, some people have done that. They've stepped out of the program. And then when they come back in, they're with a different cohort. So that certainly is possible.
Right.
Want though to, if you want to take the program, if you want to finish the program in a year and a half, of course, the tuition is due when you take the courses. There may be special arrangements that can be worked out with our finance office. And that's something that I would not answer. I would ask our finance office to answer that question.
Yes, I would agree on that one as well. We did get a message. We did get a direct message in regards to a question from a student. What can I expect from an online class? Do the online classes include reading and writing assignments? Is there also interaction with the instructor?
Yeah, I can handle that. So let's see, Sion, do you want to flip back to the online course delivery slide so that I can, I believe that is
I could do that.
slide number 13, it might be, no, 16, online curriculum delivery. Yeah, so in your Blackboard platform, we have readings, which they're usually empirical readings. That's original research articles that are required. We also have textbooks, and then we have video lectures. You have interactives, that means online interactive activities that we ask you to engage in for the learning purposes instead of just listening to a video lecture. You have online discussions with your cohort members in the Blackboard platform. There's a discussion board where there's a prompt, and then you discuss with your colleagues, with your peers in that discussion board in text and in written text, or it could be in a video discussion. So you would record a video response to a discussion prompt, and your peers would respond to your response with either video or text. And then we have projects and assignments and written papers. We do also have synchronous sessions. That means a live interaction with the instructors. Those synchronous sessions are on the East Coast timeline usually. So that means that, if you're in a different part of the world, that live synchronous session may be at a very odd time in a different time zone. Those are optional opportunities to connect with your instructors and your faculty members, but we do have them. We have them as optional interactions because this program is designed to be an asynchronous program, which means that you don't have regular live face-to-face times with your instructor, so that we could provide the most equitable access to this certificate to students across the United States and around the world. So that is, we've designed this online program so that it would that it could meet the needs of an international and national population. What were the other parts of that question, Sion? I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I addressed all of the pieces of the question.
I can jump in too.
Okay.
I think that what we'd like to convey is that at Hopkins, we really value the student experience. And when this program first started online, I was a little worried that I had been teaching it face-to-face, and I was worried that the online students would not make connections with each other or with us the way my face-to-face students would. Well, after the first year, I really learned that the opposite was almost true. From our very first cohort that started in 2010 online, there are a group of students who still communicate with each other. And so we're talking 11 years later, they're still friends, they visit each other, they exchange information, and that's subsequent cohorts, the same thing. So one of the strengths is that most courses, in fact, probably all of them, you're also assigned to a team, and there are team projects, and that really helps you to get to know your classmates better. Group work is really important, because in any professional practice that you're in, working within a team is really critical. And so we value very much working together in a team for a project, and giving each other feedback in a team. That's also a very important skill, that you're able to discern good work, versus work that needs some help. And so, your team is going to be important, and we're available to you. I don't think that there's any professor who wouldn't say, if you need me and want a Zoom meeting with me, let's do it. So, it is asynchronous. That's what online programs are meant to be. It is not, facilitated. You don't need to be online at 7 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, right? So I think that's a strength of the program, that it's asynchronous on one hand, and on the other, students who want and need more interaction with the professor, we're available to you. So again, the student experience is important to us.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hardiman. Last question, can the CERT course be taken if hoping to go on to, I'm assuming that's EDD or PhD? The CERT can be taken as a standalone, but it is not a prerequisite to our EDD PhD programs. I believe Sion mentioned earlier, if you are interested in mind brain teaching as a part of the doctoral degree, then either you would choose a specialization as a part of the EDD, or you would choose a different specialization, because you cannot take the certificate, say fall 2021, and then upon completion, apply for our EDD program and choose the same specialization. You would have to choose a different specialization in that scenario.
All right, it looks like there are no more questions. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Thank you, Dr. John Bull and Dr. Hardiman, for your time and the wonderful presentation. Thank you for participating in today's session. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And then also just on this slide, here are some important contact information. If you have any questions relating to admissions, please contact my colleague Tyreen. Any program-related questions, Camila Mika Sims, Dr. Marielle Hardiman, and Dr. Ranjani John Bull. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.